Think of tuning a radio during an ordinary drive. If the dial is slightly off, you do not get silence, you get noise. Voices overlap, music cuts in and out, and the signal never quite settles. Many philosophical traditions use a similar idea to explain everyday experience. Inner life, according to these views, is always tuned to something. When attention is dominated by worry, resentment, or self-doubt, the result is not emptiness, but a steady stream of confirming experiences. The same patterns repeat, not because life is deliberately opposing us, but because the signal we are holding is imprecise. Conscious manifestation reframes this dynamic. It is not about forcing outcomes, but about noticing what we are consistently tuned to. When awareness enters the process, desire is no longer treated as wishful thinking, but as a frequency shaped by thought, belief, and behavior. What follows is often described as a method of adjustment, a way of refining that signal so experience begins to respond differently. Within symbolic systems, the idea that desires function like frequencies is not meant literally, but descriptively. A desire is understood as a pattern of focus that repeats over time. It influences what we notice, how we interpret events, and which opportunities feel available or invisible. Conscious manifestation in this sense is the practice of aligning that pattern deliberately rather than leaving it on automatic. This process is often described in stages, not because reality operates mechanically, but because human attention does. Each stage refines a different aspect of inner alignment. The first of these stages is vision. Vision is where the signal begins to form. It is not casual imagining, but the deliberate act of defining what you are tuning toward. Without vision, attention drifts. With vision, attention organizes. This stage asks not what seems likely, but what feels genuinely meaningful. Vision provides direction, giving the inner signal a reference point instead of letting it scatter across conflicting wants. Vision, however, remains static without the second stage, which is desire. Desire is what gives energy to the signal. In everyday life, we can notice that what we care about tends to stay mentally present. Desire keeps vision active rather than theoretical. Within this framework, desire is not framed as lack, but as engagement. It is the emotional investment that sustains focus over time. Weak desire produces intermittent attention. Strong desire produces consistency. This stage emphasizes honesty. Borrowed desires, those inherited from expectation or comparison, tend to dissolve under pressure. Genuine desire persists. It continues to influence decisions even when circumstances are discouraging. Symbolically, desire amplifies the signal. It gives vision weight and relevance. Without desire, vision remains an idea. With desire, it becomes something the mind and body orient toward repeatedly, shaping daily priorities in subtle but persistent ways. The third stage is belief. Belief determines whether the signal is stable or contradictory. It is possible to desire something intensely while simultaneously assuming it is unattainable. This internal split weakens alignment. Belief in this context refers both to belief in possibility and belief in personal permission. Many traditions emphasize that people often imagine outcomes they do not expect themselves to experience. This expectation quietly governs behavior. Belief operates beneath conscious thought, influencing how effort is applied, how setbacks are interpreted, and how long persistence is maintained. This stage involves examining assumptions that may have formed unconsciously. It asks whether existing beliefs support or interfere with the desired direction. Belief is significant because the mind tends to act in ways that confirm it. When belief shifts, behavior often follows without force. Symbolically, belief stabilizes the frequency, reducing internal interference that distorts the signal. Once vision, desire, and belief are aligned, the fourth stage is acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation, but consolidation. It is the point where internal debate quiets. Acceptance means allowing the chosen vision to feel legitimate without constant justification. This stage is often overlooked, yet it is essential. Without acceptance, effort remains fragmented. Energy is spent managing doubt instead of directing action. Acceptance also involves releasing outdated self-definitions that conflict with the new direction. It does not require denying past limitations, but it does require no longer identifying with them. Within symbolic language, acceptance is where the signal becomes coherent. The frequency is no longer interrupted by internal resistance. This does not eliminate uncertainty, but it reduces self-sabotage. Acceptance creates psychological stability, allowing the remaining stages to unfold with less friction. The fifth stage is intention. Intention marks the shift from alignment to direction. While acceptance stabilizes the signal, intention aims it. Intention is described as a conscious decision rather than a vague hope. It clarifies priority. In daily life, intention functions as a filter. It influences which opportunities are pursued and which are ignored. This stage does not require constant effort, but it does require consistency. Intention aligns will with vision, ensuring that choices reinforce rather than contradict the desired direction. Symbolically, intention focuses the frequency. It reduces dispersion, allowing energy to move forward instead of outward. With intention, actions begin to feel purposeful rather than reactive. This stage prepares the ground for movement by ensuring that action, when it occurs, is not scattered. The sixth stage is action. Action is where alignment becomes observable. Within this framework, action is not defined by intensity, but by congruence. The question is not how much effort is applied, but whether behavior reflects the assumed reality of the desire. Action translates intention into experience. It may involve small, consistent steps rather than dramatic change. These actions reinforce belief through evidence, however modest. They also refine understanding, revealing what adjustments are needed. Symbolically, action broadcasts the signal outward. It demonstrates commitment without requiring certainty. Importantly, action here is not forced optimism. It is participation. By acting in alignment, the individual confirms internally that the desire is being taken seriously. This stage closes the gap between inner orientation and external behavior. The final stage is permission. Permission is often considered the most subtle and the most difficult. It involves releasing fixation on outcome while maintaining alignment with direction. Permission does not mean abandoning desire. It means relinquishing control over timing and form. Symbolically, this stage allows the signal to interact with a wider field of variables. Excessive attachment can narrow perception, causing opportunities that do not match expectations to be overlooked. Permission restores flexibility. It returns attention to the present moment, where action remains possible. Within many traditions, this release is considered essential because it prevents strain. Strain introduces interference. Permission restores balance. It acknowledges that effort has been applied and alignment established, and that outcomes may unfold in ways not fully anticipated. Taken together, These 7 stages describe a process of alignment rather than acquisition. Vision, desire, belief, acceptance, intention, action, and permission are not steps to control reality, but ways of refining the signal through which reality is experienced and shaped. The idea that desires are frequencies serves as a symbolic framework for understanding consistency, attention, and behavior. Conscious manifestation, within this perspective, is not about making demands on life, but about adjusting how one participates in it. When alignment improves, experience often reorganizes. What once felt distant may begin to feel accessible, not because reality has been forced to comply, but because the individual is now tuned to engage with it differently. This framework invites reflection, responsibility, and patience, emphasizing that meaningful change emerges through clarity, coherence, and sustained presence over time.